Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Well, today I asked my my great friend, Tony Two Toes, if he would come and share his thoughts about sovereign citizens. And he had a couple of great ideas about maybe getting some input from you. So with that said, allow my great friend here, Tony Two Toes, to tell you what he's thinking. All right, take three. I got it. No more epitaphs or what was it? Epithet. What? Why don't you just say cuss words, you big dummy? Okay, here's the deal. I've been watching these videos, and the videos show these people, they call them sovereign citizens. Well, that's pretty stupid. You're either a citizen or you're a sovereign. You're not both, right? But here's the thing. All these idiots are clogging up the courts. I can't get my guy's cases dismissed, cases heard by the judges. And as a result of that, things are kind of getting, people are staying in jail longer. And I don't think that's right. So what I would really like to know, from any of y'all, what exactly motivates somebody to become a sovereign citizen? You got to be some kind of nutcase to do that. So if you would, when lawyer guy finishes, if you would just kind of drop some notes in the comment section and let us see what you think. I told him he's going to do a video with the comments. So, if you want to get your comments heard on the channel here, just drop them in there and he'll take care of it, all right? Oh, I promise he'll take care of it, if you know what I mean. Here's the thing. I think people like Tony, who probably went to every dance in high school, probably had a girl on every arm, was really popular. He didn't need to belong to the chess club or to the debate team or anything like that because, quite frankly, he got all the socialization he needed in other ways. But there is this underclass of people, particularly in high school, and I think even later on in life, who just don't blend in. Now, I've never been much of a joiner. When I went to the high school dances, with one exception, in high school, my date was a camera. I took pictures because I worked for the school newspaper. And so maybe I'm part of that underclass, but I don't think so because I always got along with people. But there are a certain group of people who I think just lack any self-esteem whatsoever. So the other day I saw a video and the police had stopped this vehicle because instead of having a license plate on it, it said private. And there was a woman driving, there was a man in the seat, in the other front passenger seat, and they had a kid in the back seat, a 15-year-old. And in spite of every effort by the police to get them to listen, they just kept shouting the same sovereign citizen nonsense that has become, I think, endemic for this kind of thing. And so I watched that video and I thought, there's a real problem here because these people are going to get hurt. And sure enough, before very long, the police busted out the driver's side window, pepper sprayed everybody, pulled everybody out, arrested the two adults. I'm not sure what happened to the kid, but it was all so completely moronic. There was absolutely no point to their getting arrested. The stuff that they kept spouting it was nonsense. It was nonsense from a legal point of view. I'm sure from their sort of myopic view of having gone to sovereign citizen college somewhere and learned all of the mystic phrases to, bamboozle judges and police officers. And then they found out that did not work. It did not work at all. And in some respects, I felt sorry for them, but not a whole lot. I felt sorry for them because somebody has convinced them that they can do this, that they can put a tag on the back of their vehicle that says private without having to worry about it getting towed and then impounded and then having to pay storage fees at probably $20 a day, if they're lucky, to get their vehicle back, plus pay the fine, plus have to post bail to get out of jail in the first place, probably involve a lot of their relatives to try to get them out of jail. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I got to thinking, and what I think the issue is I think these people feel like they are part of this giant club. Finally, they have found a group of people to fit in with. And they all have these same beliefs, very much like flat earthers and people who believe that the moon landing was fake. Hey, allow me to interrupt for just a second and ask you, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. That lets YouTube know that this is a good video and they can recommend it to others. It helps me out a lot. Thanks. I don't know, maybe they have their own secret handshake. Maybe they get together in covens and sit down and chant their secret spells that are supposed to get them out of jail. But it never works. Every sovereign citizen channel on YouTube, and there are a lot of them that play nothing but sovereign citizen idiocy. All of these channels feature people who probably are not bright enough to be out on their own. My Aunt Naomi used to have this saying when she'd go to a restaurant and she'd get a small piece of meat. She'd say, "Wow, this thing came from something that's so small it's too young to be out without its mother." And I think sometimes these people are too stupid to be out without their mother, assuming that it's not their mother who taught them this nonsense. And the reason I think it has something to do with self-esteem is because when they are busted and they're dragged out of their vehicles, their car is bashed in, or their windows are bashed in, and they're put in handcuffs and drug away, kicking and screaming like a 3-year-old having a tantrum. When that happens, it validates their view that they are not worthwhile, that they are not worthy of being treated like normal people. And they never get the cause and effect thing right. Instead, they prefer to believe that some secret series of words from cases that are 150 years old will somehow free them from the confines of the jail. And of course, it never works. And of course, the reason it doesn't work is because these people don't know feces from a particular brand of shoe polish about what's going on in the law. They think somehow that the common law applies. And as I've mentioned before, the common law applies up to a point. When statutes are duly enacted, they can replace the common law. And a legislature has full power to regulate the police activities in its state. So they can require vehicular licensing. They can require driver licensing. They can do all of these things. And of course, none of this implicates their right to travel, because a driver's license that you get in Minnesota is equally valid in Florida, just the way a license that's issued from Florida is equally valid in California. That's the way full faith and credit works under our Constitution. And so when these people make these mistakes, or I guess buy into this ridiculous notion that they can somehow chant these magic spells and get out of jail free, they just completely fail to understand the law. You can read a lot of law from the 1800s and be absolutely convinced that they are right. But it doesn't take into consideration that in 1860, there weren't any automobiles. People got places by horse. Now, there were still roads. There were dirt roads, usually. They still had roads, but they were not infrastructure in the way that we think of roads today. So there wasn't a need to repair and maintain them the way that there is today. And that's why licensing, registration, vehicular taxes, all of this come into play. I wish I could make them understand this. It doesn't matter whether you watch these people in court or whether you watch these people at the side of the road with the police officers. But as much as I love the way that most of these police officers handle this, they talk to them, they're patient, they're kind, they give them multiple chances, and then very reluctantly do they break the window and drag them out of the car. Indeed, I think in the last video I saw, it was about 15 minutes into it before they actually got to the point where they pulled them out of the vehicle. So if I were the police chief in one of these places, what I would tell the police officers to do is when they got one of these people and they announced that they were a sovereign citizen and they refused to roll the window down, I would say, okay, I want you to understand something. I've ordered you to get out of the car. You have raised the window and are not talking to me. And if they shout over you, I would just let them shout, and I would say, I'm giving you a warning. If you do not roll down this window, I am going to break the window. I will count to 3. 1, 2, and then on 2, I would pull that little baton back in my arm and say 3. And usually, I honestly think that before they got to 3, these people would probably open the window. But to the extent that they don't, you bash the window out, you pull them out, you put them in handcuffs. One of the things that drives me crazy is when these people, first of all, when the cops ask them questions, they say, I don't answer questions. Okay, fine. You know, questions like your name, you actually do have to give the officer your name. There are laws on the books that say that. That is for a number of reasons, but you don't always have to identify if you're out on the street. But if you're driving a vehicle, you're going to have to produce some kind of driver's identification. And if you don't, that's a separate offense. But instead of telling people, A, I don't have a driver's license, or B, I have one, but I'm not going to show it to you, they just say, I'm not answering any questions. So when they say, why'd you stop me? I think the cop should say, I don't answer questions. I think it would absolutely throw them off their script, and they'd be like, what do I do now? But that's just me. I wouldn't put up with the nonsense, and I don't think they should put up with the nonsense. I get it. They're on a body camera. They want to look reasonable, and you can look reasonable without, bending over backwards to look reasonable. I'm giving you plenty of opportunity. If I break this window, you might get glass in your eye. That would be bad. You might, if you don't come out of the car, I might have to pepper spray you. That would be bad. So why don't you do the reasonable, rational thing and cooperate with me? And when they say something asinine like, I don't recognize your jurisdiction, that's when the police officer should say, of course you do, because you pulled over. If you thought I didn't have jurisdiction, you would have kept driving. Now, logic, of course, is not a real strong point in their educational background, but I think even a sovereign citizen could figure out, uh-oh, yeah, I did, didn't I? So that's my thoughts about sovereign citizens. But I really would like to hear your thoughts about these people. Now, there's a guy on YouTube called Team Skeptic, and he refers to them as crayon munchers, and I think that's probably a pretty accurate description. If you would, I would love to hear what you think is wrong with these people. Why do they do this? They know it's not going to work. There has not been a single case publicized where this sovereign citizen nonsense has resulted in these people walking away. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully you found this interesting, engaging. I would love to hear from you. And more importantly, I want to hear from you. That was kind of rude. He cut me off right in the middle of it. So if you would, please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And as always, if you have the opportunity today, do something nice for someone. It will make your day a lot better. Thanks for watching. Catch me down here at the beach next time. If you like this video, here are a few others you might try, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a terrific day, guys.